Well, the rumor mill is turning when it comes to Xbox's Developer Direct Showcase, likely to come next month in January of 2025. This is a showcase where it's not exactly like the big June one where they make all the crazy announcements that will blow your mind of what's happening with Xbox. These are generally more in-depth deep dives and what's already known, and have the developers get a chance to kind of stand in front of a camera to give you the elevator pitch of what's coming up and why this game is so cool and why you want to play it. But there is one game in particular that's getting a lot of buzz around the rumors when it comes to what's going to be announced at this showcase, and how this game is more of a when it will happen rather than if it will happen. And as always, if you guys like this type of informational videos, make sure to tap like and subscribe, and let's get right into those details. So the big buzz going around right now in gaming is that it looks like there will be an Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remake releasing in 2025, and the big thing about it being announced in the January Developer Direct from Xbox. Now we are digging a little bit into the salt mine, so at least take all this information with, well, a grain of salt. But the reason why I feel like this information is worth sharing is because you have prominent insiders like Nate the Drake and Clobril also corroborating that this is going to happen. And this isn't the first time we've heard about a remake coming for Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. We first heard about these leaks actually back in July of 2023, and that's more just kind of giving awareness that it's happening. That was the first time we actually really got a chance to see this actually be something tangible that we can actually be known about, and saying that in a now deleted Reddit post, an alleged former employee of Virtuous Games, which is the team that's actually going to be making this remake, has leaked that Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remake is in development. And you would think, okay, well, it's just leaked information, hearsay, yada yada yada, like we can't really take any of this seriously, right? Well, actually, you can. During the FTC hearings with Microsoft and ZeniMax about Microsoft trying to purchase ZeniMax, this actual bit of documentation came out right here, talking about all these different remasters and projects that Bethesda is currently in the works right now when it comes to making games and having stuff come together. Again, some of these timeframes have definitely been pushed out, but you can see that the work is being done. Showcasing the ZeniMax release schedule and some of the most important things people really found out about this whole thing, about saying that there is a Fallout 3 remaster in the works, as well as, of course, Elder Scrolls 6, which who knows whenever that's going to actually happen. But again, the big thing here, when you actually look at some of the games being talked about here, an Oblivion remaster. So like I said at the top of this video, it's not about if, it's more an issue of when. While Microsoft and Bethesda haven't officially said anything about an Oblivion remake, we kind of know that it's really happening, and it could be announced as soon as next month. That's kind of the most recent rumor that's going around here, saying that Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remake could be revealed next month, being January of 2025, and it's been corroborated by, like I said earlier, Nate the Drake and Clobril, who are known credible insiders. And it does seem like this remake is going to be much more of a kind of nice layer of paint over the game remade in Unreal Engine 5 rather than a completely new game. It is kind of mentioned here within this blog post, and the remake is more like a Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary with the same gameplay, with some improvements, but made in Unreal Engine 5. And even looking through the comments, it does say some people are a little disappointed that we're hoping for a Skyblivion kind of combo game put together, which would be really interesting, something that'd be exciting, but like it'd be quite the undertaking, a little bit more that I think Xbox would be willing to put together. But why are people excited about this entire remake? Well, it's really just because it's during the magical era of Bethesda. This game was released during a time where it felt like Bethesda just couldn't miss. And if it was just a game from Bethesda, you knew that it was just going to be expansive, something that would push the gaming genre as a whole and get people genuinely excited about playing a Bethesda game. While in the last few years, in games like Fallout 76, which didn't really release to fan appreciation, though now it's kind of grown into its own audience, but also a game like Starfield, which wasn't a bad game, it just wasn't really a game that would be something like, oh my god, it's a Bethesda game, we need to play it. And Oblivion's one of those games from Bethesda that's kind of like part of the DNA of what makes the company so fantastic when it comes to making these expansive RPG games. I mean, we even saw it when it came to Starfield. You see, even with that Starfield reveal trailer, right, they actually had the adoring fan from Oblivion in Starfield. So it's been so long since the release that Bethesda's even making references of themselves within their own games. And if you look at the Metacritic score of Oblivion, it's super high up, right? It's listed as a 94 right here, saying like it's a must-play type of game. So if you're in a fan of like RPG, expensive, like high fantasy kind of things, well, it's one of those cornerstone type of games. And Oblivion releasing in 2006, I mean, you can just look at the graphics here that like, yeah, it definitely looks like a 2006 era game. To have this be remade in the Unreal Engine almost 20 years later, which could time please slow down, I would really appreciate that. It's the type of game that just plays off of nostalgia and would just get people excited again about a Bethesda product. But of course, as a Halo fan, when I hear a reference to Combat Evolved Anniversary, it just get me a little worried, just because even though the Anniversary was a nice update in graphics, I feel like a lot of the changes that they made when it came to like the modeling of like say Master Chief wasn't really well done. Reusing a lot of assets from Halo Reach at the time, like putting the Halo Reach shotgun into Combat Evolved right here, wasn't really a thing I would like to see when it comes to that. And also like the lighting, everything was just like the tonality of things was just like a little off. And so it wasn't really like that great of a remake that I think a lot of people actually kind of revert back to like the original Combat Evolved when it comes to which one would they rather play. And I'd probably agree with that. And that's always kind of the dangerous thing about when you outsource a beloved game like Oblivion out to another studio to develop and also update to the modern era. You're going to have to take some liberties when it comes to these models, because you can see they're a little low res and some of the animations I'm sure need to be improved as well. But for it being a full-on remake, it does lend itself to being a little bit more of something that could be modernized a little bit, feel a little bit more like it's part of this era, rather than something that was from almost 20 years ago. Though I'm really curious to see if making a Bethesda game in Unreal Engine would fan those flames again when it comes to asking Bethesda to switch engines. This was a big thing that came up after the release of Starfield, where the creation engine was kind of just starting to show its age a little bit. We did even see some articles from like Skyrim leads and people who previously worked on Starfield saying that Bethesda is kind of just stuck with the creation engine and how it's like finely tuned for them, what they like to do for their games. But you see, like, if they're able to capture something really special with Oblivion that you don't really see currently in other Bethesda games utilizing the creation engine, oh, I mean, that'd be some drama showing up for sure online. So there are going to be a lot of high hopes when it comes to this developer direct coming in for 2025. This would be a game I feel like that would be announced during something like this, because it's something that I think would get people excited to jump into the Xbox platform. But I don't know if it's anything that you'd reserve until June when you have like the big showcase that happens every year. This is more kind of like a cool, fun addition for all you RPG Bethesda fans out there. And Xbox has been no stranger when it comes to making surprise announcements for the Developer Direct. I'm sure we all remember Hi-Fi Rush being announced back in the 2023 Developer Direct, which sadly the studio ended up getting shut down because that's just how the market is right now within gaming. It's brutal out there. But so this would be, I say, on that caliber of an announcement. I don't think it will be released that day and available, but just knowing that it's happening, going to release in 2025, would genuinely get people excited. Are you looking to play Oblivion Remaster when it comes out on Xbox, guys? Likely coming out on Game Pass. Let me know in the comments down below. And if I made it this far in the video, I hope I earned your like, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.